Good evening, everybody, and welcome back to Untitled Chapter with me, Stephen. Tonight, I am joined by my two Canon Chatter co-hosts. We have G. How are you, G?
Just took a sip of my wine there. As you
I know,
asked.
that's why I went to you.
You know what? I'm good, man. I'm good. Like I said, wasn't in a very good headspace last night. Given the result, but I'm a lot better today. So yeah, I'm all well. I'm all good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I feel like I'm coming down with a cold, so it might be a short show tonight. Who knows? Lottie, how are you?
I'm deflated. This club's out of two cups in 2 days. I can't get my head around it. I'm upset, to say the
You're wearing
least.
a hat. That's why you can't get your head around it.
My head's cold. My head's not doing what he wants to tonight, so that's why I've got it. I look like I'm sitting in the North Pole tonight.
Have
In
you
a bar
thawed out
somewhere.
from last night from being at the game?
Put it this
Oh,
way,
yeah, it must have been freezing.
I had to run hot water over my hands to actually feel my hands by the end of it.
Yeah, man, that must have been cold, man.
No, do you know what? I was up in 128 and it was cold. I think the only thing that really irritated me apart from the game was the person who kept complaining that I wasn't in the right seat.
Yeah.
On the ticket exchange, I picked up his season ticket and he didn't go out buy it first. That's not my problem.
I do it all the time.
I just gave him the bit of paper. I said, you know what? You can
I
look
do
at
it
this
all the
paper.
time. Every time I've been to a game, which is not often recently, but every time I've been to a game, I think I went to the pre-season stuff earlier this season. Every time I go there, I always sit in the wrong seat. Always.
No, I had the right seat. But from what I know, for season ticket holders, they get the first few FA Cup games this season, and that's it. And then their seats are free for all. Okay. That is what I understand from it, and I know that because I know people who've got season tickets, and it was just a massive hissy fit. And the excuse that they didn't ask me in the first place because they didn't think I spoke English. Are you serious? What?
Oh man!
Well, he causing trouble as usual.
Oh yeah, I almost swung for his son. Don't even get me started. And as for the man that was on Charlie and the drink behind 3 rows behind me that kept getting up, I almost had an argument with him as well. And like it got that bad, his mates ditched him. Came back and his mates were gone. Even his mates told him to shut up. He was just read that out of it. He fell into a steward as well.
We have plenty to get through tonight, so we've obviously got a bit of a chat about last night's game. We'll have another chat about transfers, I'm sure. And obviously we've got the Burnley game coming up on Sunday, so a bit to talk about with that as well. So with that said, we'll play the intro and we'll get into it.
Arsenal have gone through an entire league campaign without losing. The first time it's happened.
Okay, so as I say, welcome back to Canon Chatter. We're down in the Canon Chatter Arms. As you can see, we've got our drinks. I've got a beer.
Yeah.
G's on the wine. Lottie's on the water. No?
Yeah, somewhere.
Yeah. And we have Gary in the chat here, who, good evening, Stephen G and Lottie. Missed game yesterday, feeling good. I'm lying. I'm numb to the pain. Haven't even started the drinks. Come on, you Gunners. You get yourself a beer, Gary, or a wine, or gin, or whiskey, or whatever you want.
Brandy and Coke.
Evening, Keith. How are you? Scorpion kick from Norwich. Right. Okay.
I don't think they just scored.
So I was going to start the show and try to be funny and say that, you know, I've got some breaking news from a source that we've had an offer accepted for Vlahovic and these are great terms and, you know, we're just waiting on the agent's fees. Same story, every single, I don't know how many bids we've had accepted for him, but can't really be bothered because I feel like crap. So I think we just might as well depress ourselves a wee bit more and have a chat about last night's game.
Yeah.
Just to sort of set expectations, tonight's show is kind of on the fly because I have not had any time to do any prep today for it at all. So it's going to be talking, and we'll make it up as we go along. But lately those shows have been quite good fun. We've been doing more and more of those, and do you know what? You guys in the chat always help us and make it interesting anyway. So keep your comments coming in and your questions and your thoughts, and we'll share those as well. So I don't have a lineup graphic or anything, but I'll quickly run through the lineup from last night. So we had Ramsdale in goal. We had Tomiyasu back at right back with White and Gabriel in the middle and Tierney at left back. We then had Lokonga and Odegaard in the midfield with Saka, Smith Rowe, Martinelli, and then Lacazette up top. Jay, I'll come to you first. What was your thoughts when you seen the team news?
I loved it. I absolutely loved the lineup. I was very much aware of who was available and who wasn't available. And yeah, so when the lineup came out, I don't usually actually comment or tweet on it because I find that, to be honest, it doesn't really make much sense until obviously the match has been played. And I kind of just put my faith in who Arteta has picked. But this time, I actually quote tweeted the official Arsenal tweet and just said, you know what, I absolutely love the lineup. So I had no complaints whatsoever.
Okay. Lottie, you were obviously at the match, as was talked about. I mean, what was your thoughts when you seen the lineup and you seen the players coming out to start the game?
Well, at the time, when the team sheet was dropped, I was right outside the armory, and I got really, really overexcited because I saw Thomas Partey on the bench, and I was like, "The man's only just thrown home, and he still made the bench."
Mm-hmm.
But that lineup was exciting. I was happy with that. My boy was back, my favourite, Smith Rowe. I couldn't complain.
Okay. We'll obviously come on to the party later on. I did put it on the menu board in the thumbnail, Party Pooper.
I love that, Party Pooper. Brilliant.
You know, so we will have a chat about him. I don't want to go into massive amounts of detail and sort of overanalyze everything because it's a bit depressing when we do that. So I want to sort of I'll come to you, Lottie, first. And your overall impressions of the game. Obviously, it was 1-0 at the end of the first half and 2-0 at full time. For you in the ground, I mean, for me watching at home, we started off really well. You know, for the first 20 minutes or so, I thought we played really well. We were controlling the game for the most part. We looked the more dangerous. We looked the more likely to score. And then they got the goal from Yoda, who always seems to score against us.
Yep.
So they got the goal from him. It wasn't it was a good goal from him, although he scuffed it slightly. And the defending wasn't wonderful. And we'll come on to some individual performances in a wee minute. But I think as soon as they scored, we just seemed to just shut off. It was like we were almost scared to try and attack them. We were scared to lose by 4 or 5. You know, we'd rather go down losing by 1 than going down 4 or 5. Was that kind of the impression that you were getting in the stadium?
Do you know what? It was a cup semi-final game, and I feel with a lot that's gone on, they didn't really turn up. I really don't want to say that, but that's what it felt like at the time. I mean, for a cup final, you expect the noise to be there. I mean, I know the Ashburton Army had the drum out in Block 28. I could hear it. I was directly above it. You could hear Block 28. There's about 80 people in there that were singing. And obviously, I was upstairs. You start singing and people just look at you. And the only thing I can say that's positive about the atmosphere is that when people tried to sing, "What do you think of Tottenham?" no one responded. And for that to happen is actually something pretty good as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, we're playing a cup semi-final. We shouldn't be talking about Tottenham.
Exactly. Exactly.
You know, so I understand that.
And I did hear my Kieran Tierney song that I've been tweeting. I've been trying to push that and push that. Yeah, it was sung last night. I was well pleased. I was very pleased. I was singing it from the upper tier. People looking at me like, what the hell is she singing?
G, what was your kind of thoughts on the first half?
You know, I've got to agree with, you know, the pair of you in that it started well. I think we came out the blocks pretty quick. I think out of the two teams, we settled quicker than Liverpool did. And we looked dangerous. We looked threatening. You could probably argue that we probably should have taken the lead in the first kind of 10, 20 minutes. Martinelli was an absolute threat, had Trent on absolute ropes. And yeah, it was a very positive start. Obviously, Liverpool, broke. It wasn't great defending, not just from one player, but from a couple of players. Generally the whole team. They kind of cut through us, like a knife through butter. And I saw a lot of reaction in terms of, obviously, Ramsdale should have saved it. He was completely blindsided by that goal. He couldn't see a thing. There was at least 3 bodies between him and ball. And to be honest, I think had Jota got more purchase on the ball, he probably would have saved it. But he actually miskicked it and it trickled past him. And then obviously, I think once Liverpool got the goal, their confidence grew, our confidence dipped. And you could see that because from there on, for the rest of that first half, they were in absolute control of the game.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're right about Yoda's attempt. I think if he hadn't have scuffed it, it probably wouldn't have gone in.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, sometimes that's the luck you get. So it was disappointing, and for me, as I say, we seemed to shut up shop at that point.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like we had no real interest in attacking the game.
Yeah.
Second half, obviously, they got a second, and that was kind of it. I mean, as you guys know, I didn't get to watch the game live, so I had it recorded, and obviously had my phone set aside so I couldn't see anything, and I watched it back as soon as I could. And I'll be honest, when they got the second goal, for me, that was it. I knew we weren't getting back into it, and I ended up watching the rest of the game on fast forward, just to get to the end so I could pick up my phone and see the reactions. Lottie, I mean, for you in the ground, what was the feeling when the second goal went in?
Oh, by this time, I literally couldn't feel my fingers or my toes, so I was just sitting there like, I can't get angry. There's just...
Yeah.
I'm cold. I had my scarf up under my eyes and I was just like, here we go again. And like sitting above the Liverpool fans, it's not exactly fun. Especially when you've got like what are they called? The flares going off. And you've got stupid children jumping on the pitch. It's depressing, to be fair. But I still sat there until the 95 minute. Well, yeah, sat there because I was upstairs.
Respect for that, though.
Until the 95th minute. Players didn't even come round to us, which was a little bit disappointing. Which I get, because throughout the game, they were waving their arms at the crowd and they start to sing and then all of a sudden they'll stop. And it's just, I've noticed with our away games, because our away support is so phenomenal, they thrive off that. And the Emirates is never going to be like that, because I've come across people who do go to games and they've turned around and said to me, why am I going to sing? I don't have to sing if I don't want to. And it's, for me, that is really disappointing, because that's kind of the whole point, as the way football used to be.
You want to create that atmosphere.
Yeah, you want the atmosphere. You don't want to be sitting in the library. That's why people take the mick out of us, because of people with that attitude. But there are sections of this fan base who are trying to move things. You see my tweets. If people learn them, fair enough. I know. Do you know what I mean? It's just a case of getting all the like-minded fans all in one area. Do you want to be quiet? Go sit somewhere else. It's just getting those fans in one space, and that to get that noise that they need to go forward and play what they need to do. Because we play better away than we do at home at the moment. We just do. The only decent game I have seen with an electric atmosphere, it was Tottenham at home. We always turn up for that, and that is it. The rest, mediocre, unless you're sitting in the right spot, which like I was. So,
okay, G, sort of sum up the second half for me without going into sort of detail on the individual players or anything, because I want to come on to sort of a few individual performances after this. So, what was your sort of feelings on the second half?
Well, it was a bit meh. It was a bit like, I saw Arteta's reaction when the halftime whistle went. I was watching the game with my son. He's not a massive footy fan. He won't mind me saying that. But I kind of said to him, look, it's a big game tonight. It'd be nice if I could have some company watching the game, have a beer or whatever. So he blessed him. He watched it with me. But he even made a comment about Arteta's reaction at halftime. Like there was no, there was no smiles. He literally head down, straight down the tunnel. And I thought to myself, yeah, this is exactly what's needed. He needs to go in there, give them the hairdryer treatment, and hopefully we'll see a better performance in the second half. But for me, I've not watched the game back, but just my experience watching the second half, I didn't really see much of an improvement or a reaction from the lads. It was pretty much more of the same after we went 1-0 down. And the game kind of just ticked away from us. Liverpool were in absolute control. I didn't ever feel like we were going to score or that we were ever going to get back into it. There were a couple of brief moments. Obviously, Lacazette had a chance when he was put through by Lokonga. Fantastic ball from Lokonga. And he skied it. And I was sitting there and I said to my son, I said, the next goal determines how this game's going to pan out. And I know that's very obvious to say, but that's how obvious it was. If Liverpool got it, they'd win the game. If Arsenal got it, then we had a chance to to maybe nick a second. But, once the second goal had gone in, that was it. It was curtains. And I kind of knew that. So, yeah, I wasn't very impressed with the second half performance. I don't think it was much of an improved performance on the latter half of the first half. So, the second goal went in and the final whistle went, and I was just pretty much kind of really ticked off. But at the same time, I don't know, it was just quite deflating. Like Lottie said, that I don't feel like in terms of what was at stake, in terms of our last chance at silverware, I just don't feel like the lads put in the performance that the game was worthy of, in my opinion.
Okay, thank you. All right, we'll read some of these comments and then we'll come on to we'll have a chat about some of the individual performances on the night. So Gary saw a Twitter message that Dusan is waiting to respond to Arsenal next week after he flirts with City. Football gods heal us. I read that same rumor that apparently now he's interested, but he wants to see if City are going to make a bid. Gary, Tomiyasu and Party should have been on the bench or better, not even dressed out. Yeah. Again, we'll come on to some individuals in a wee sec. Gee, you should be drinking straight from the bottle. Don't waste the glass. Save water. Gary said hello to Keith. Keith said hello to Gary. Lottie, green screen makes it seem like you have a hand floating and fixing your hair. Oh, well, I need something to smile about. Keith, Martinelli was good again last night. Yeah, we'll come on to that in a wee sec. Mobe Gunner, big up DWTT. Hello, Lottie and the gang. Hello, how are you? Martinelli looked like a man without a team out on the pitch. Big up Mobe Gunner from Gary. Really, how are you? Even all Sunday can't come soon enough. Gary said hello there. And Gary, second goal, Stephen. And Kedia coming on didn't increase my confidence. We get something. Yeah. And again, we'll come on to that in a wee sec. NDB30TV, evening all, evening, how are you? Really saying even to Gary and Jimmy. Lolly, that's because I was at the North London Derby and missed the FPL deadline, but you know what happens when I leave ASR on the bench, he scores. Let's hope he does. Anyway, right. Let's have a chat about some of the individual performances. And one I want to sort of pick up on is, G, I've seen you taking to Twitter today to defend the honour of Tomiyasu.
Yep.
A couple of people quite critical of his performance last night.
Yep.
And I'm not going to lie. I mean, for me, he didn't have a good game.
Yep.
He wasn't good. He got turned inside out by Yoda for the first goal. He was slow. He looked laboured. But when you put it in perspective of, he hadn't had a training session coming back off his injury, and he put himself forward to play knowing we didn't have Chambers or Cedric available.
Yep.
It's the measure of the man. And he has been very good since he's come to the club. He's had some outstanding performances. Don't get me wrong, he's had a couple where he hasn't looked as good. But for the most part, he's been very, very good for us. So I think it was a bit harsh, the criticism, despite the fact that it was, you've got to look at it both ways. It wasn't a good performance from him. There's no getting away from that. It was not a good performance. but you have to look at the flip side of it and take it in perspective. So, I mean, what was your thoughts? I know you've been very vocal on that today on Twitter. So, do you want to share some of your feelings on that one?
Yeah. So, like for me, I don't really get involved with Twitter debates. I've kind of got to the point where you, without being disrespectful, you can't argue with stupid. So I just tend to just keep my opinions to myself. We create content. I put opinions out about certain things, and I just kind of keep it moving.
Ooh.
But I just felt that, the criticism of Tomiyasu by certain sections of the fan base and on certain platforms was just completely unfair. And that's just based on everything that Stephen's already said in terms of the fact.
Are you referring to the comment that Tomiyasu is the Japanese version of Hector Bellerin?
Yeah, absolutely. I saw that and I just thought to myself, no, this is completely out of order because like Stephen said, Tomiyasu is a player who was bought from Serie A. He was playing for Bologna. He was a player that vast majority of us didn't know who he was. He'd signed, most of us were underwhelmed, and let's face it, he's come into a new league, new language, new culture, new everything, and on the whole, he's done very, very well. He's been, on the vast majority of it, he's been absolutely solid. Yeah, he's had, some matches where he's probably not been, at the races, but nevertheless, for me, he's been one of the players that's shown absolute effort, absolute heart, absolute determination. He's not necessarily my first choice in terms of right back. He's not. And I do have certain reservations about how he plays, particularly like offensively going forward. And I don't really see him as a stereotypical, stature in terms of like a right back, going forward and so forth. But defensively, he's very strong. But yeah, I just thought that the criticism was very unfair. I think a lot of Arsenal fans were speaking from a place of emotion rather than rushing now. And it was just very much like, he was crap, he was this, he was that, he's the Japanese Bellerin. And I'm just thinking to myself, hold on, like, this geezer has come back from injury. He's missed like the last however many games. He's put himself forward to play in what, is a really important game for us. And you know what? He never had a great game. And he didn't. And he was responsible somewhat for the first goal. But at the end of the day, that is the type of attitude and, the type of, measure of the man that we want playing for Arsenal Football Club. So, I don't usually get involved in Twitter debates, but I had to defend him because I just thought to myself, based on that performance, if you want to express yourself based on that performance and you want to single out Tomiyasu as a reason why we lost that game, then mate, you don't know a thing about football. It's that simple because Tomiyasu was not the reason why we lost last night's game. And so for me, it was a poor performance for the whole team. Well, I say the whole team. There were a couple of standout players, which we'll get into. But it was generally a mediocre, poor performance. And I just don't think, it was right to single him out, given the circumstances of him being unavailable, unfit, making himself available. And you know what? He had a poor game in terms of like decisions, you could see he was off the pace. But even when he made mistakes, the geezer got up and ran for his life to try and make amends when he was making mistakes. And as an Arsenal fan, that's all I ask for. So yeah, I had to do that. And you know what was really refreshing is that the vast majority of Arsenal fans actually, agreed with me. And that kind of really made me, reinforce my faith in Twitter because I'm as much as I use it, I'm very skeptical of it at times. But, when I look at the actual comment and, the amount of likes and comments and stuff like that, I thought to myself, you know what, it's kind of reinforced my faith in sections of Arsenal fans. So, yeah, I had to defend my guy, Tomiyasu, because I think he had a poor game, but I think there was context to why he had a poor game. And I just think, like I said, a lot of Arsenal fans were speaking from a place of emotion rather than rationale.
Okay, thank you. A couple of comments here. Gary, oh no, Jamie, I started him, obviously in terms of ESR and the fantasy football. NW30 TV, Tommy just came back from injury. He's one of the best right backs we have had in a very long time. Absolutely. Jamie, I believe any of Liverpool forwards scores lack his chance. We'll come on to that in a wee sec. Keith, Tommy Quality just not fit last night.
Yep.
Albert, I have timed as well. The less said about the particular individual who wanted to single out Tommy Asu, ridiculous. Yeah, I mean, we're not going to obviously make mention of that as such, but it's just the fact that there was a number of people. It wasn't just him. There was a number of people within Twitter today making comments like that. And you're spot on, G, from Keith. So, Lottie, I want to come to you now, not about Tommy Asu, but about somebody else who put themselves forward. And that is Party, or as I put it on the menu, as I say, Party Pooper, in the sense that he kind of spoiled the party a little for himself coming back from AFCON. But, I mean, the man only got back into London at 12 o'clock yesterday and stood up and said, put me in the squad.
Yep.
He came on, 2 bookable offences, got sent off. I mean, what's your thoughts around the whole thing? Firstly, about him being in the squad. Should he have started? Should he have come on? And what did you make of his challenges?
Okay, so since this is going to be a bit random, but since Arteta has taken over, we've had 14 red cards. 14. 3 of them this year. And we're not even at the end of January yet. So, and I don't mean to be funny, but some of those yellow cards that were given for me from where I was sitting were questionable. Because something would happen to us, we'd do it back, and we're the ones who get punished for it. And from where I was sitting, whoever the referee was, he was an absolute idiot. In terms of Party, though, he as you said, he landed at midday and he still played. I think majority of people were hoping he would play because it's only like a 1 or 2 hour time difference from where he was playing in AFCON. But I was just generally disappointed. He looked like he lost his head, or he wasn't fully match fit anyway. It was just a general disappointment from him for me.
Okay. I mean, I get what you're saying about some of the tackles and stuff. I think I didn't actually see the second yellow, but his first yellow was definitely a yellow. I mean, he went in and it was a late challenge.
I meant in general. I just meant in general. It
yeah.
just the way that they pulled Odegaard on the floor and nothing was done about it. It was just a joke.
I think the fact that he had to play. I'm just sort of looking here at the squad list. The fact that we needed goals, and we brought on Nketiah and Partey, and it's kind of all we had on the bench.
Yep.
Aside from that, you had Tavares could possibly have come on and been a bit of a threat, but where, unless you brought him on at right back for Tomiyasu, because he's not going to come on for Saka. Martinelli was probably our standout performer, so he's not going to come on there, and. We've said it before, he's not better than KT, and at this point, KT was taking the armband.
Yep.
Which was, for me, one of the highlights of the night was actually getting to see Tierney finally get the armband.
Yep.
So, yeah, I mean, it's disappointing, but it shows the lack of depth we have in our squad. That when we get a few injuries or there's issues with, if players are away, AFCON or whatever it should be, that we don't have cover. And we had to bring him on to try and get a goal. And now it's left us in a position where we go into Sunday against Burnley where, again, we don't have him. We don't have Onana. We don't have 34. We're going to end up with Sam B and Odegaard in midfield again. And it's not the strongest pairing for that sort of style of play. So, yeah, it was a risk that Arteta chose to take. I don't think he really had any other option. That was the problem.
Backfired, didn't it?
Yeah. It's disappointing, but, we have to move on. So in terms of overall performance, was there anybody else you thought was particularly poor, either of you, or just generally everybody was quite poor, apart from, I know there's sort of one or two that, have to be sort of praised for their performances.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think it was a blanket per performance.
I personally feel like it was a very mediocre performance from the team itself. And I don't like to single out players because I don't massively feel like it's helpful. However, of all the players last night, if I could single out one as having a poor game, it would have been Lacazette. And for me, the reason why I'm saying that is because if I'm looking at ESR, he wasn't match fit. If I'm looking at Tomiyasu, he wasn't match fit. You know, if I'm looking at Saka, to be honest, he didn't do much wrong, but he didn't seem like he was on it. I don't think many of the players, Tierney, I don't think he had a great game, but he didn't necessarily have a bad game. Gabriel, you know, Ramsdale, Ben the same. But in terms of a performance, in terms of what I've seen of Lacazette over recent weeks, since he's been given the kind of captain's armband, he's coming to the side, Aubameyang's been out. I've seen some really good performances from him. Last night was one of his poorest. He just didn't do the things that we know Lacazette can do well. In terms of like dropping deep and kind of linking up with the other players, I didn't really see his hold-up play. I didn't really see his link-up play, you know, quick kind of interchanges between him and the wingers. For me, he had a chance that a top striker puts away. And that absolutely changes the whole reflection of the match. And that's why, you know, when we get onto transfers, that's why we need a centre forward, because at the end of the day, we're playing superior opposition. Whether Arsenal fans like to hear that or not, that's the reality of the situation. We're playing a team that is far more better than us in terms of quality, in terms of experience. So if you get an opportunity like Lacazette had, you've got to bury it. Like, you've got to bury it. And don't get me wrong, players will make mistakes. You know, Partey went in two-footed. Lacazette missed a chance. It doesn't matter who you have up front. Players are going to miss opportunities. But it's not the first time. Like, let's face it, we've had this conversation many a times. As much as we love Lacazette in terms of his leadership skills, but he's not the player that we thought we were buying from Lyon in terms of a 20 goals plus player a season. He's just not that guy. So if I could single out any player, and I'm not going to sit here and, you know, tell the world of YouTube that, you know, he's rubbish and he's this and all of that. He had a poor game in my eyes. He just didn't necessarily do what he can do well. He just didn't do it well last night. And I think that was one of the fundamental reasons why offensively we didn't look a massive threat. So yeah, he was the only one that I could say had a poor game that wasn't based on, you know, other circumstances in terms of fitness, or because as far as I was aware, he wasn't coming back from an injury. He hadn't got COVID or anything like that. So I don't have any other contributing factor, you know, as a reason why he might have had a poor game. So I'm just going on the basis that he was fit, he was available, and by his standards, it was a poor game.
Okay. Lottie, trying to take something more positive from it. Who do you kind of felt maybe stood out in terms of a good performance?
I'm gonna have to think about this now. We're not about going for the obvious answer. Do you know what? I'm gonna have to go with Smith Rowe. I don't understand why he was taken off in the first place. Him and Martinelli were the only ones trying to get forward. I didn't understand Lacazette's positioning half the time. We got the ball forward when he should be up top. He's down the middle of the park. So I'm gonna have to go with Smith Rowe and Martinelli for the best performers.
So yeah, I mean, for me, obviously Martinelli stood out, and you could see that they were doubling up on him, sometimes tripling up on him when he got the ball.
Constantly tripled up.
Yeah, you know, so they were having to nullify that threat, and we didn't take advantage of that. You know, that was the biggest issue, was we weren't taking advantage of the fact that they were tripling up on him. For me, the other sort of person that stood out was Odegaard. I don't think someone coming back in, probably not had much in the way of training sessions, maybe one or two this week. But again, I thought he played well. Again, out of position, not his natural position to be playing next to Sambi. But I felt he was reasonably good on the night. Some really good passes, good awareness of where people are around him. And I think, you know, if we can get somebody in next to Partey, a good central defensive midfielder, to free up Partey a little, I think, you know, Partey and Odegaard coming through the middle are going to give us something a bit different. And obviously, you've got Smith Rowe there and Saka. The basis is there. The nucleus is there for a good team. They just need some additions to the starting team and strength and depth. So disappointing that we went out. But I kind of felt at the end of the match, I was disappointed. I was gutted that we weren't getting to go to the final. But at the same time, on the balance of the game, we didn't deserve to go through. Liverpool were the better side, and that's fine, fair enough. Good luck to them. Much as I'm not a Liverpool fan, and I don't necessarily think they conducted themselves great over the whole COVID thing, and it's coming out all the different stuff about that. But it is what it is. There's nothing we can do. We've got to take our own disappointment on the chin. The sad thing for me is now we're not even out of January, and we've nothing left to play for.
Yeah, literally.
And that's kind of disappointing that, we still got a chance of qualifying for Europe.
He wants to say hello. Like, just say hello and then get it out of the way. Go on. Drac, this is the world of YouTube. Canon Chatter viewers, say hello to Drac. All right, go away now.
Sorry, G, all I saw is this.
Sorry. I know, I just thought, let me just take away the awkwardness. Let me just take away the awkwardness and just introduce him, and then we can move on.
No,
sorry, Stephen.
No worries. Yeah, I mean, all we've got left now is, obviously playing for the chance of getting into a European competition, but there's going to be no silverware. And for it to still be January, that's really quite disappointing.
It is.
Lottie, final thoughts on last night's game?
Disappointing, but we go again on Sunday.
Okay. G?
Yeah, disappointing, but staying focused on, what the start of the season target was, which for me was top 6. I know he's just gate
I'm sorry.
Absolutely gate crashing my life. So it is what it is. But yeah, for me it was a disappointing performance. But at the same time, I'm trying to just stay focused on what the target was at the beginning of the season, and that was to finish within the top 6. Although right now, I'd be a bit disappointed if we miss out on top 4. But yeah, we move. Sunday, we got Burnley. Let's get the win.
Okay. So let's go to the comments then. Gary, Tommy Asu and Party's performances were poor, but it was attributed to Arsenal not having depth. I have to blame Arsenal for that. Then Gary saying hello to Albert. NDB30, I agree with Gary. We let people out on loan and we put pressure on him to play. He might have been jet lagged or just tired, unfair to judge him. Well, I mean, he did have a game 2 days before.
Yeah.
And he had played 3 games in the AFCON in the last sort of week. So, he had a right to be tired, I would say.
Yeah.
Johnny Zed, is that a new name of the chat? I don't recognise that one.
I think so, possibly.
If it is, welcome to the channel, Johnny. Good to have you with us. Make sure and hit the subscribe button. Too many players on loan. Guendouzi, Torreira, Balogun, Nelson. Yeah, I mean, we have a lot of players out on loan.
Balogun needs to be on loan. I'm sorry to disagree with that. Balogun needs to be on loan.
Yeah, no, I agree. He needed a loan move, but we do have a lot of players out on loan. I don't know if you've seen the thing today that they are going to actually limit the amount of loan players that you can have out. I think it's either 4 or 6.
I heard it was 8.
Was it 8? Was it?
I think
I didn't get a chance to read the full story. I'll catch up.
At the moment,
but there is going to be a limit to it.
Yeah, we've got 13 out on loan, and I know the likes of Chelsea have got 21. But I thought it was 8, but I could be wrong. I don't know.
We'll catch up not over the weekend. Maybe have a chat about that on Monday night, or Tuesday night, or whenever we're back. Keith, oh man, what we got to do? Signings quick, or are we in trouble? Yeah, absolutely. NDB30 agree at Johnny Z. Arsenal have been good at signings, but the outgoing loan deals could bite us up to Arsenal. Gary, but G, that is what Laka does. No surprise with his performance. He misses chances and had to play so deep. Nothing new. The Mikel Arteta talk again. Is that another one?
Yeah,
another new one.
Yeah.
Welcome to the chat. Welcome to the channel. Good to have you with us. Make sure and subscribe. How are we all? We're not too bad. I'm coming down with a cold. G's fine, and Lottie's just freezing as normal, which is why she's just dressed like she's going on an Arctic expedition. saying, "Hey, Ollie, hey lads, Gary, bring the cat back. We need a comfort animal."
Oh,
And
Stephen,
Keith
you
saying,
missed it. Stephen, you missed it. Is it Drac?
Yeah, he literally just
He went up. He went up behind G, and all you see is this long tail behind G's head.
"Oh no, I seen it. I'm not gonna lie.
Sorry.
Every time I turn my camera and my microphone off, it's because I'm blowing my nose. I don't want you to have to see or hear that. I'm doing you all a favour." Keith said
Thank
it's
you.
6, so 6 players out on loan.
Oh, okay.
Thanks for that, Keith. As I say,
Thank you,
I'll
Keith.
have a wee read up on that over the weekend and find out a bit more about it. Okay, we'll have a quick chat about transfers and stuff. I know we did it on Wednesday night, but we'll have another quick one tonight.
Yeah.
But just before we do that, I just want to draw everybody's attention to something that's happening on Sunday evening. I retweeted it earlier on. There's a guy on Twitter, Ray, who does a lot of work with people with mental health issues, and he's doing a Twitter space on Sunday night at 9 o'clock, all around mental health, and obviously worth tuning into. I've obviously tweeted that out and asked people to sort of spread the word. Even if you're not personally affected with mental health issues, it's always good to tune in and sort of hear what other people are going through, and give you an understanding of what other people are experiencing at the minute, and how maybe we as individuals can help others. You know, if we're not personally suffering, how we can maybe help other people that are, and be a wee bit more understanding of the situation. So it's worth, you know, we've seen so much off the back of COVID, especially, and it's becoming more and more prevalent now that people are suffering with mental health issues. So it's good to have those conversations. So if you do get a chance, tune into that and listen, you know, contribute if you can. I know Ray will appreciate the support. Right, transfers. There's not really anything much new to report, except for the fact we're now linked with a goalkeeper from New England Revolution.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember what his name is, but from all accounts, he's
Matt
supposed to be
something,
pretty
isn't
decent. Is it Matt Turner or something?
Matt Turner, that's the one. Yeah, that's the
Matt
one.
Turner.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know who he is. I know nothing about him. I know friend of the show, TSG_22. I apologize. I keep forgetting his name. Was messaging me earlier on about him, saying that he talks to a few people in the States on a FIFA sort of thing, pro clubs thing that he does, and a lot of them are saying, you know, he is a really good keeper, and you know, plays obviously for the US national team. Gary in the chat, if you're still there, I mean, Gary, are you aware of this Matt Turner? Obviously being out in the States, you know, is he someone you're familiar with? If he is, can you give us a wee bit of insight, maybe? Lottie, any thoughts on this one?
Not really.
It's okay. We're all the same. You know, we're all kind of in the same boat. I think what it does mean is obviously potentially Leno on his way out.
Do you know what? We're looking at an American keeper. I can't remember his name off the top of my head. I know if Leno's on the way out, we do need one, but I think the priority right now is keeping hold of him and sorting the middle of the park out and the top end of the park, because that's where we're desperate. We're desperate in the middle of the park at the moment. Our two most senior players are suspended. We've got Sambi on his own. Odegaard doesn't exactly play side by side by Sambi. Sambi is on his own.
Yeah.
And as well as he's doing, he needs that experience alongside him.
Okay. G, any thoughts on this keeper situation?
Yeah, it's one of those where I'm going to be honest, I have a clue this geezer is. I don't. I never heard of Matt Turner in my life. Do you know what I mean? I just don't know. He sounds like somebody who drinks at the Cannon Chatter Arms, but that's about it. So really and truly, I was a bit surprised, but at the same time I wasn't, because I always knew that Bernd Leno was not going to accept being a number 2. At the same time, I got to give him his props. He's not made no noise. about it. He's lost his number one spot, and he's kind of just got on with it. He's been nothing but professional. Anytime he's been called upon, I think he's done a decent job in goal. But at the same time, I'm not surprised that he wants to go, elsewhere and be the number one spot. What we know from Leno is, regardless of what your opinion is, he's very ambitious, and he wants to be a club's number one. So he's not going to be content with being our number two. In terms of Matt Turner, like I said, I hadn't a clue who he is. By all accounts, some of the articles and stuff that I've read, he was the MLS goalkeeper of the year, supposedly the most valuable player in the MLS. I don't know if that's genuine or authentic in terms of the stuff I'm reading, but I'm only starting to actually read stuff on him and watch him in terms of YouTube clips, because really and truly, I didn't know the player existed, albeit 2 days ago. So I can only go on what I've read and watched so far. I think we're basically buying somebody potentially that can give Ramsdale competition, and hopefully do a job, potentially in cup games for the rest. Well, not this season, but next season. So I'm not gonna sit here and absolutely, slate the player that we're potentially linked with, because I did a good job of that doing it over the summer, and that didn't work out very well. So I'm just going to say, you know what? If they think he can do a job for Arsenal, then I'll keep my faith in Edu and Arteta. If they think he's the right man to add competition and quality to the squad.
Okay, that's how we read some of these comments. Johnny agreed we need a CM and a CF. Yeah, I'll come on to that in a second. Gary, I don't know Matt Turner. My understanding is he has the same ball skills as Leno, maybe even worse.
Oh, that's not good.
Johnny, he plays for New England Revolution in the MLS. Gary, he's supposed to be competing for number one goalkeeper for the US, but Stefan is a solid number one goalkeeper for the US. I don't know enough about either of them to sort of comment. So NDB30 could be the Yank version of Ramsdale. Matt, hello all. Evening, Matt. How are you? Good to see you back again. Gary, saw a report Leno for 10 million. What? That's a joke, right? He's a starter, isn't he? I think the thing with Leno, I think he's only got a year left.
Yeah.
This summer.
Yeah, we're not going to get much more than 10 for him.
Yeah, I think that's potentially why the fee being talked about is quite low. I think the talk is it would be a 6-month loan to Newcastle with an obligation to buy for 10 million in the summer, which I don't really get why they don't just buy him now, because it's not like Newcastle don't have the money.
You have to buy him anyway. So what's the point?
Yeah, just get it done. Gary saying hello to Matt. Lions AFC, good to see you again. Can Matt Turner play in midfield as well? Very short in that department, absolutely. I think that one as well, linked recently to Yuri Tillmans. But again, that one looks more like a potential summer move. I'm quite a fan of Tillmans, although from all accounts he didn't have a great game against that lot up the road the other night for Leicester. But I think he is a very good player. I mean, what's your thoughts on him, Jay?
Yeah, I think he's a very good player. He's for me, he's one of the standout players at Leicester City. When you look at Leicester City football team as a club, and you look at the players they've got at their disposal, for me, there's only a couple of players that stand out. If Vardy was maybe 10 years younger, he's a clinical finisher. If you look at Maddison, obviously we were heavily linked with him. He's a good player. Tielemans is another one, and probably their young centre back. I can't remember his name, but he's out with quite a bad injury. He had a really good season last season. But yeah, to be honest, when I saw the links and the rumours that his agent's already been to London Colney and had chats and talks with Edu, I was really excited, and I am really excited. I definitely feel as though we're going to be in for him during the summer. And I think we are very well positioned and poised to make a move for him, because if you look at this season, albeit a disaster, we're going to finish above Leicester in the league. We're kind of competing for, that top 6, top 7, potentially even top 4. And, even without that, Arsenal are a much bigger club than Leicester City. Let's face it, it's just facts. So I can definitely see Arsenal being in a good position to make that move for him in the summer, given the fact that from what I've heard, he's only going to have a year left on his contract. So Leicester are not going to be in a great position in terms of negotiating, because it's either take the money now or, we do what all clubs do. We tap him up and we take him for free in a year's time. So, yeah, I can see us getting him potentially for a cut price, but obviously we're not going to be the only team that's in for him. He's a quality player. He's probably going to have a number of options. So, yeah, he is a player that would excite me. And I'm not necessarily saying he's going to start every single game, but we need to get beyond this thought process of players need to start every single game. We need to have a squad. We need to have a team. If we're going to play with the 2 midfielders with the number 10, then we need to have 4 midfielders that can start a game and put in a performance. So it's all about quality. So whether or not he'll be a start right now, if he comes into our midfield, he starts every game. But that doesn't necessarily mean he'll always be a starter. But yeah, I'm very excited about a potential move for Tielemans. And I know he had a poor game, but all players can have poor games. So yeah, hopefully that one materializes in the summer.
Doesn't really help us an awful lot now, Lottie, but I mean, Tielemans, is he someone you'd like to see in an Arsenal shirt?
I would, but I have a feeling this is going to play out the same way that Maddison did. So I've got no hope there. With Leicester, they're a team that's been playing together for a while, and it depends where we finish and if he'll come if we're back in Europe or not. It all depends on that. But I do see it playing out the same way that Maddison did. But hopefully I can have a nice big slice of humble pie if it does happen.
The only difference I think with the Maddison deal is that with Tielemans, I think where he's got less on his contract, I think Leicester in a way are gonna have to come to the table and actually come reasonable, because if they don't, they'll just lose him to either Arsenal or another European giant within 12 months. And I think with Tielemans, what's been clear, regardless of what Brendan Rodgers says, because when Brendan Rodgers goes on his press conference, he says, "Oh yeah, Tielemans is committed and Tielemans is happy." And I'm not getting me wrong. I'm not saying he's unprofessional. I'm not saying he's committed to Leicester right now. But if he was committed to Leicester, he would have signed a long-term contract. The contract's been on the table for quite a while. He's not signed it, and by all accounts, in terms of rumors, he's not going to sign it. So let's get past all the kind of treading on eggshells that Brendan Rodgers is giving the kind of cliche PR, responses. Tielemans is clearly not going to sign a new contract. So, Leicester City are going to be in a very awkward position come the summer, because they're not going to get anywhere near as much as they probably could get for a player of his quality. They're going to be pushed to accept bids in the region of 20 million plus. Whereas if he had a 3-4 years under his belt in terms of contract, they wouldn't even answer the phone for anything less than 50-60 million. So they're in a bit of a sticky situation, I think, personally.
Okay. Before we come on to the forwards, we'll go to the comments. But just before we do that, I did see just briefly before we came on there a quick thing about I think it was our good friend Sky Cava had said an update on the sort of Arthur Mello situation was that basically it's going to get done, but we just got to be patient on it. Okay. I'm hoping I've read obviously the 18-month loan. Is that what you were going to say, Lolly, about an 18-month loan?
We've got 10 days. We've got 10 days. We don't have time.
Exactly.
Talking nonsense again.
Thankfully, after Sunday, which at this point we're not going to sign anybody in time for Sunday anyway. After Sunday, we've got a 2-week break. So we've got time now after Sunday to at least get some people in. And we've only got 2 games in February. Don't know if you're aware of that. We actually only have 2 games.
Yeah. That's okay. We had 2 games this month as well for the moment.
Yeah. So I'll read some of these comments and then we'll have one quick chat about the sort of striker situation. Matt, serious question. How can you consider someone from the MLS to play in goal? It's a different game. here than it is in that league. I know a few US goalkeepers have done well here, but a bit of a gamble, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely, it's a gamble. But then signing any player is a gamble, really.
Yep.
And we've seen that. You look at Pepe. We signed him and thinking he was going to be great. He wasn't.
72 million.
We signed Martinelli for $6 million from the fourth tier of Brazilian football, and he's been brilliant. It's just so hard to know how players will adapt to this league.
It's a hard one.
Jamie, could he really be worse than Runnerson?
No, he couldn't be.
Henry V30, Matt Roberts. There have been some decent American keepers over the years that have been played in the Prem. Yeah. Gary, how much money you got? Jimmy Runnerson was recommended by Arsenal staff. Yeah, he was recommended by Inca, the goalkeeping coach, which is scary. Matt, but it's a gamble surely to think that he will play to those similar standards, isn't it? What was that? Was to NDB 30. Jimmy, yeah, the Italian feet quoted for Rhea at the time scared us and we went cheap. Should we have gone for Rhea at the time? Should we have sunk the money into him?
I don't know. It's hard to say right now because we've got Ramsdale in goal and I'm pretty happy with him. I think at the time, yeah, and I think on reflection, we probably should have not have gone down the cheap route because let's face it, Runnerson was an absolute complete waste of time having him at the club. So, but yeah.
Okay. Matt, I spied something in the beginning with Gary's favourite word. Every player is a gamble. A lot of us fans stated the Ramsdale buy and now we're eating humble pie. Absolutely, NDB. Gary, have a good show. Stephen G and Lolly have to feed the fan picking up food. Gary, that's what delivery companies are for. Get your takeaway delivered.
Have a good evening, man.
Have a good evening. Good evening to you, Gary. Thanks for joining us. Matt, fed up with Lane FC. Bet it's going to be a minute to midnight that someone has signed.
It's going to be another Ozil.
Our transfer window's only open for one day. Feels like at times.
I know. It's so frustrating. So frustrating.
And Joe, good to see you back, Joe. Haven't seen you in the chat for a while. Hope you're keeping well. Big up, bloody Stephen G. I thought Sambi wasn't bad last night. What did you think? I thought criticism was harsh.
You should have heard what was in the stands. I'm not going to repeat it, but wow.
Did you think the criticism was harsh, Lottie, of him?
Yeah, too right. I've just he was so up and down throughout that game. You just can't call him dog doo-doo. I'm sorry, you just can't. He made, as G said earlier, he made a very good pass that Lacazette fluffed up, and that was that. I mean, I was sitting right above that, and I don't know what Lacazette was doing. Yeah. So it's not last night. It wasn't a team I watched. I just watched 11 individual players. That's how I felt. They weren't playing as a team,
I just
that
think
made
Arsenal...
life difficult. Ramsdale was hesitant, and that drove me up the wall. And it's not like him to be hesitant. It's just crazy. I've never seen him take so long on the ball and telling people to get organised.
I just think Arsenal fans, and I know I'm guilty of it at times, and we all are, but I just think sometimes as Arsenal fans, we need to be a little bit more, realistic and just have a bit of perspective. He's playing in midfield against Fabinho. He's playing in midfield. He's playing against a team that 2 seasons ago or so, whatever it is, won the Champions League. And I just think he's a 21-year-old kid that's coming from the Belgian league that, let's face it, should not be playing as many games as he's playing. And quite frankly, you know what? I think he's doing a fantastic job. I really do. He's not ready for the first team, but that's not his fault.
He's ready, but he's not ready. He's somewhere in the middle, I feel.
He's ready he's ready to be in and around the team, the first team, but he's not at a stage where we should be playing him as a first team regular. That's Arsenal Football Club's fault because we've got such lack of depth in midfield that we're forcing to have to play him week in, week out. That's not his fault. He's still transitioning into a new team, new country, new culture. So, yeah, the criticism is harsh. I think he had a bit, like Lottie said, a bit of an up and down game. There were times when you can see that he lost his head and he panicked in certain situations. And there were times when he actually showed, what a good midfielder he will one day become on a consistent level. So I think the criticism overall was harsh.
Okay. NDB 30, good beer, that, Stephen. It is. Have you had it? It's a lovely beer. Hop House 13. Other beers are available. Either you guys tried this?
I don't drink beer.
I've not actually.
No? Do you even get? Have you heard of it before?
No, I've not. To be
Yes.
honest, I've got some.
You
I've got
haven't heard of
some
it?
soul beers in the fridge.
It's made by Guinness. Basically,
Okay,
so it's a lager made by Guinness. It's lovely.
nice. I need a top up soon.
Norwich beat Watford 3-0.
Yep, Dennis has got sent off. Anybody who capped in, you've lost double points like I have tonight.
You know,
I
what we
am
need to do, man.
fuming.
You know, I know we're going to get onto strikers in a minute, but we need to raid Everton right now. 16th in the league, 5 points above the relegation zone, bro. We need to get
Come
to
on,
get DCL
Cal,
a top team.
we need to bring DCL in. I know
Yeah,
he's
we need
injury
to, man.
prone, but
They're
I
never
need
going
to
to
bring
be.
him in.
I don't
When
think
he's
they're
on
ever
form,
going to
he's
be
on
as
form.
vulnerable as they are right now. We need to just
No.
put in a little sneaky bit and get him over the line.
Exactly.
NDB 30, yep, I love it, made by Guinness. Okay, yeah, so we'll get on the strikers, and obviously the endless Vlahovic rumours, and I'm bored talking about him. At this point, I kind of got to the point I don't even want them. You know, if we're willing to pay the money, Fiorentina are willing to accept the deal, and we're waiting on him, and he's taking this long, I don't really want him. I want people who want to play for the club.
Yeah.
I have heard through. I'm in a couple of groups on Twitter, sort of transfer ones that claim to have sources, and one or two of them have actually been quite accurate over the summer and stuff. So, you know, I'm not going to completely discredit them, although for the most part, people who claim to have sources have as much sources as I do, which is zero. They just guess. But I did read tonight, one of them was saying in one of the groups that apparently, and as I say, it's just apparently, we have agreed a deal with Everton for 45 million for Calvert-Lewin, based on not getting Vlahovic, but we're going to wait before we pull the trigger on it.
Wow. Okay.
That would
What
make
would
me
you
very
think of that
happy.
deal?
I'll be happy with that. I'd be happy with that because when that guy is in form, he is on form, and with the feeders from Saka, Smith Rowe, Odegaard, and Martinelli, I think he's also got that aerial presence which we haven't had since Giroud.
Okay.
I'm definitely behind that.
Listen, I just say, you know what? Throw 140 million and get the two of them. I'm greedy. I don't care. Do you know what I mean? And you know why I say that is because Aubameyang's gone. He's gone. Like whether it's this window or next, he's gone. You know, Laka's running down his contract, and Eddie just needs to get out of the club.
Eddie
ASAP.
needs bloody big red arrows to show him where the damn goal is.
So I reckon come the summer, we're gonna need two strikers anyway. Because Balogun, I don't even feel, even after this loan, I still don't feel Balogun is gonna be, you know, our number 2 striker for next season. Maybe the season after, but definitely not next season. So I think we're gonna need 2 strikers anyway come the summer. So yeah, in terms of obviously, you know,
I'd say we need 3 if all 3 of them are going. I'd say we need 3 if all 3 of them are going.
Yeah, I don't know. Depends on how we're gonna play. But if we just park Vlahovic for a while, yeah, DCL, I'd be happy with that. You know, he's a player that I've kind of to and froed with over the kind of rumors and links and stuff. But when I look at in terms of who's available, like for me, Vlahovic is my number 1 target. And clearly he's Arsenal's number 1 target. Now we'll have to just see how that plays out. But when I look at all the other potential targets in terms of strikers, it makes sense. Like, it just makes sense. Like, why would you go to France and pick up Jonathan David for a similar fee when that's a massive risk coming from the French league? You know, why would you, you know, somewhat go to, you know, Ollie Watkins at Villa when you're probably going to pay similar money, if not more, considering how much Villa paid for him, where DCL's been doing it for longer in the Premier League? You know what I mean? So when I just look at the players that we're linked to, even with Isak, I like Isak. I think Isak's going to be, potentially a world-class player. I'm a little bit concerned with his how prolific he might be. I'm not sure if he's the out-and-out goal scorer that we require. But when I look at all of those, other than Vlahovic, who I'm absolutely certain would be a hit at Arsenal, I think DCL is the only other one that makes perfect sense. Like, I think it would be a very straightforward transfer. Very straightforward. Like, we know he's a gooner. Like, his club is currently 16th, 5 points above the relegation zone. Like, and even if you take that away, we're a massive club. It's a massive step up from Everton to Arsenal. So, yeah, for me, it's a massively straightforward transfer if we can get it over the line. It's just going to be the case of, Everton going to have an asking price, and then it's whether or not we can meet that asking price or not. And hopefully, by all accounts, what the guys are saying is that, for me, 45 million for DCO in this market, I'd be happy if we paid that for him. So, yeah, like I said, I don't think the Vlahovic deal is going to go ahead. Personally, I'm a bit more like 60-40 that it's not going to happen, but I still think there is a chance it might happen. But I really hope that Arsenal have actually got a plan B and have tied up a potential deal. Thank you, darling. A potential deal for DCL, because I would be happy with DCL transferring over to Arsenal this window.
Do you remember to tip your waitress?
Yeah, no, of course I will. She's looking good as well,
Stop flirting with the help. Right. More chance of getting DCL than Vlahovic. Matt, what's your favourite source? Mine's ketchup. Mine's garlic mayo. As I say, it's a group I'm in, and I take it with a pinch of salt. So it's one of them things. It would be nice if it was true. Matt, I'd bite your hand off if it was true. Stephen, love DCL. KT can finally get his crosses into a proper target. Yeah, I mean, I said I'll say it again. For me, Calvert-Lewin is one of the finest headers of the ball in European football.
Yeah, he is.
There are other parts of his game that aren't as good, but certainly, in terms of target man for throwing the ball into the box, he would be fantastic. And especially with the way KT bombs down the wing and gets those crosses in. And you seen it last night with Martinelli. Martinelli was getting the ball, running down the wing, and he had no one to pass to. He was having to check back inside and wait because there was no one in the middle.
Why is he going to cross at Laka?
Yeah.
That makes sense. He's against Van Dijk and Konate. He ain't got a chance.
Yeah. Joe, what are your thoughts on Lacazette? Lottie is, I think, very hit and miss. Well, we already covered that off. Obviously, we sort of said the same thing. NDB 30, DCL, how much you reckon for him? Remember the English tax. As I say, the rumours I'm hearing it was 45 million, but I don't know how true it is. Matt, I like this one. I was reading, obviously, on through these. You can wait till the summer and get someone for free, but Ousmane Dembele is looking for a club. Just throwing out names, no links or anything. We have obviously been heavily linked with Dembele in the past. Lottie, what's your thoughts, Dembele?
Mute. Lottie, you're mute.
I heard you. I have got one headphone in. You don't need to blow my ears out, man.
Oh, sorry.
I could hear you. I wasn't thinking. I mean, how old is he now? He's what, 24? No.
Yeah, he's still reasonably young.
He's 24.
Dembele.
He's over.
Yeah.
He's over. Is he? I can't remember where he is at the moment.
Barcelona, innit?
Yeah. Barcelona. If he's a free, I don't see why not. He's 24. Do you know what I mean? He's not reached his peak yet. But it's a case, I haven't watched him recently, so I don't know what his form's like.
Yeah.
So it's
it's
a grey area.
My thing with Dembele is that, like, I think what's pretty much certain is that from what I've read, like with Fabrizio or so-called tweets from Xavi and their manager, is that he's pretty much hasn't got a future at the club and he's been made available for transfer. But I don't think he's going to come with a hefty fee. I really don't. And that's mainly to do with the fact that he ain't played. If you actually look at this guy's injury record, it is absolutely
that is red flag for me.
Ridiculous. Like, I actually looked at it. When I saw the tweets from Fabrizio about him being available for transfer, I looked at his injury record. And I'm just thinking to myself, hold on, Partey signed from Atletico Madrid, having never missed a game. And this guy looked like he was made out of glass when he first signed for Arsenal. There's no way. I think Dembele is a quality player. And I think Dembele, like a lot of certain French players, I think it's been a huge fall from grace. I think Umtiti is another one. He is a central defender that I massively rated. And all of a sudden, his career has just gone south. Like, just I don't know what's happened. I don't watch him enough. I don't follow La Liga enough to know the ins and outs of what happened. But he's gone from being potentially one of the best centre-backs in the world to just he can't get into the Barca team and nobody don't even want to pay a transfer fee for him. And it's very similar to Dembele. Dembele came on the scene I think he played at Dortmund, and he absolutely set the Bundesliga on fire. And he got the big money move to Barcelona, and it's just not worked out. And I don't know whether that's off the pitch incidents, etc., which does play a part with a lot of these younger players. But I looked his injury record, and it's atrocious. Like, honestly, it's so long. I had to scroll to actually see the amount of injuries he's had. So I would have massive reservations about signing him based on his injury record and also based on the amount we'd have to pay him, because he left Dortmund to go to Barcelona and they didn't pay him pennies. He's not on pennies. And I think he would command a huge weekly wage. So I would have my reservations about how much he'd want to earn and how often he would actually be fit and available to play for us.
Yeah, I mean, for me, likewise, I love Dembele as a player. I think he's absolutely fantastic when he's on his game. There's times I've watched him, especially at Dortmund before he got the move to Barca, where he was literally unplayable. Yeah, he was so good. There are some massive red flags with him, though. One, his injury record. Two, the wages he would be looking for. I mean, rumors are that he was turning down, or he wanted something like 600 grand a week. And basically what happened, Barcelona have offered him a new deal, but it's on less than what he's currently on, which is why he's turning it down. So that's a red flag. Another red flag is he's good friends with Aubameyang from his days in Dortmund. And if we were keeping Aubameyang and Aubameyang was in good terms and doing well, then yeah, great. The fact that Aubameyang's got an issue with the club at the minute, you kind of think that's not a great one. And the final sort of red flag with me is, from all accounts, he doesn't have a good disciplinary record off the pitch in terms of turning up for training. Quite often late for training. It seems to cause a lot of off the field issues. That's just not going to fit in with Arteta's sort of iron fist that he seems to be trying to roll with. And I can't see him being the sort of player that right now with that attitude would fit in at Arsenal. So that it's a massive red flag. In terms of his capability, if he's on form, yeah, he'd be fantastic. But I can't see it myself. So we'll wait to see what happens with Dembele. It's an interesting one to see where he's going to end up. Matt, they paid 45 million for Iwobi, so they'd be getting that back. Yeah, obviously in terms of DCL and
daylight robbery.
DCL. Sorry,
that was daylight robbery.
DCL would suit how Arteta sets up Arsenal to play. Brilliant crosses in from KT, from Keith. Not sure about Dembele. NDB30, you see an Arsenal injury record. How about that Brentford striker? So Tony. For me, I don't know your thoughts on this, Lottie, but for me, so the more I've watched of Ivan Toney, he tore it up in the Championship. He's not looked quite as good in the Premier League, and whilst I have no doubt he would come in and get goals, I don't think he takes us to the level that we want to be. I don't think he's that quality of player. I think he's 1 or 2 runs below the level that we want. So I mean, what would be your thoughts on Ivan Toney coming in?
Do you know what? It's their first season up here. I haven't watched Brentford. I didn't watch Brentford last season, so I can't really say anything about him until I've seen him maybe for 1 or 2 seasons. But you've basically covered it all. As far as my opinion on him, I just haven't seen enough of him to say, oh yeah, let's have him, or no. I haven't seen enough of him, honestly.
Okay. G, any other rumours, players that you've heard in the last couple of days that we haven't covered?
No, not really. It's been pretty quiet. It just seems to be the same links. You know, kind of just being regurgitated every single day in terms of Vlahovic and Arthur. So I'm just kind of hoping that, and obviously Matt Turner, I'm just kind of hoping that, you know what, if we got those 3 over the line, I wouldn't be too disappointed. I think right now, the window's looking a bit of a car crash.
Guys, what about Ollie Watkins? Would you have him?
For me, I just feel like he would almost be like a third choice striker for me in terms of like Vlahovic being top. I think the likes of Isak and DCO being second, he'd almost be like a third tier striker for me. Very similar to Ivan Toney. And just to kind of answer the question that Stephen put to you, Lottie, I think in terms of Ivan Toney, look, if we were to buy Ivan Toney in addition with an Isak, DCO or Vlahovic, I would be quite happy. I think Ivan Toney is a player that if he was brought in as a squad player to deputise for a first team striker, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But I have to agree with Stephen and you also that I've not seen as much of him as I would have liked. I still think he needs probably another season or 2 in the Prem to see if he's worthy of a big transfer. But yeah, if we bought him and he was the main man, I'd be underwhelmed. But if we bought him as a bit of an understudy to our first team striker, then I'd be pretty happy. But yeah, Ollie Watkins, I think there's a player there for sure. But I just, as Stephen said, similar to Ivan Toney, I don't think he is the player that's going to take us to that top 4 playing, you know, weekly games in the Champions League and take us to that next level. But if he was brought in as a squad player to deputise for our first team striker, I'd be happy with that.
Yeah, I would say sort of similar to me again. I think he'd be a good person to have coming off the bench. I don't think he's a permanent first team striker. What about Sebastian Fry for number 2?
Sebastian Fry.
Who?
Which one's that again?
He is goalkeeper. I'm trying to remember who he plays for.
Who's he play for? Yeah, the name don't ring a bell. I've got to be honest.
Can't remember. Jamie, enlighten us.
I have to Google it. Sebastian Fry, yeah?
I thought Sebastian Fry retired. Or am I thinking of somebody else?
Let me see.
I thought Okay, I've just Googled it and this man's 41 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah, who's this brother?
I thought.
Yeah, he's 41 years old.
Yeah.
He's a French footballer. I don't think he's actually officially retired. French goalkeeper, professional footballer who played as a goalkeeper. So yeah, I don't know.
Gunnersaurus, good to have you with us.
I think that's what
Kelme and Benzema.
The stick tongue out emoji was about.
Oh yeah, and I think Jamie's on a wind up.
Yeah, he's on a wind up.
Yeah, Riquelme and Benzema. Those ones were permanent ones. I've told the story before about Riquelme, haven't I? About how we used to link Riquelme everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know that story, Lottie, don't you? Yeah. We used to write into the BBC when they used to do their deadline day thing of, you know, rumours. We used to send it into the BBC that would see Riquelme, you know, on the streets of Belfast and stuff. You know,
okay.
We always used Riquelme. It was, you know, seen him outside Stoke City, and yeah, Riquelme would have been awesome. I'd love to have Riquelme at Arsenal.
Yeah, Riquelme was a quality player, man. Argentinian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, good player, man.
Played ended up playing for Villarreal.
Yeah.
because he played against us actually in the Champions League semi-final.
Yeah,
I
Rukami was a
remember
good
the year we went to the final and lost. Really, is Leno leaving? From all accounts, it looks like he could be.
Yeah. Boy, listen, the last 10 days could be epic, you know, because you're talking about potentially like Eddie leaving, like Aubameyang leaving, Leno leaving, El Nene possibly. You know, there's probably gonna be a couple of like twists and turns in terms of clubs coming in for our players. So yeah, the last week could be epic. It really could be.
Tom, evening boys and girls. Glad to see G is still on the Blue Nun. Tom, what time do you call this to be joining us? We've been on since 9 o'clock.
Yeah. What time you call this, mate? It's a lock-in. We already locked our doors, mate.
NDB 30, Mikel Antonio, step up from him. Lottie, what do you think?
No, too injury prone. No, thank you.
Plus
and he's too inconsistent. Yeah, that as well, and he's too inconsistent. Yeah. I know that from fantasy football.
Is he 31? I think he's 31.
I think so.
Yeah, I know. I remember
he's in his 30s. He's going to be looking for the last big contract.
Yeah, I saw his age the other day, and I thought, oh, I didn't realize he was that old. Was he? Yeah. So yeah, that would scare me. That would scare me.
He's 31. He's
31 years old. Yeah, nah.
He's 32 in March.
Yeah, no, not for me.
So
Tom had to do his tea. Sorry about that, Tom. You know, sorry we inconveniently time our show.
I really could drop him in it if I wanted to, but I'm not going to.
All right, and really predictions for Sunday. Well, listen, we're going to come on to that now. Yeah, so I think that's kind of the transfer rumours over. We'll wait and see what happens, and obviously, I have a feeling we may talk transfers quite a bit over the next week or so. Because obviously we're going into an international break. Hopefully, fingers crossed. All being well, we may have our deadline day shows back as we did during the summer. Maybe. But we'll see what happens. We're trying to finalize a few things for that one, but we will keep you posted, and we will hopefully have some other shows for you next week anyway. But that said, yeah, we'll move on, and we have a game on Sunday, obviously against Burnley. Now, at the minute, I haven't bothered doing lineups or anything like that for this game because it's still hard to know who's actually going to be fit. And obviously now that Party can't play, 34 still suspended. So we know the two of them are going to be missing. I mean, to be honest with you, aside from maybe Tomiyasu, who it might be too soon for him to play again on Sunday, I kind of can't see him going with any different of a lineup than he did last night.
No.
Lolly, do you think there'd be any changes?
Not really. There's no choice. I mean, I can't see him starting Salah. I can't see it happening. He's never had first team minute football as far as I know. So I don't think there's going to be any changes. It's going to be interesting. Hopefully with the training session in between, fitness levels will pick up, but it won't pick up that quickly.
Yeah, I mean, the only thing I could see different is potentially if Tomiyasu's not fit enough.
Him and Smith Rowe are my concerns at the moment.
Sorry?
Yeah. Him and Smith Rowe are my concerns at the moment because they've just come back from injury. And Smith Rowe's had that niggling groin injury for a couple of months now.
G, any thoughts in terms of lineup?
I can't see it. I can't see it differing much from what he put out against Liverpool, and that's just simply because we don't have the players. It's that simple. In terms of the lads that are unavailable, I can't see Aubameyang being thrown back into the first team. Pepe and El Nene and so forth are still unavailable. So really and truly, even the likes of Cedric, Chambers and so forth that were out due to injury, they're not going to be ready for Sunday anyway. So I think he's pretty much going to have to pick the same team that played, albeit like yourself and Lottie said, possibly Tomiyasu and Smith Rowe not playing because they might just not be able to go again after being brought back early. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who he actually picks. I'm not really looking forward to the team sheet on Sunday, if I'm completely honest, because I really don't know how it's going to go.
Thing is, have Burnley got enough players yet? I know they sold Wood.
No,
They haven't brought anyone in.
I love watching Arsenal, but I tell you right now, if Burnley put in an application to get this game cancelled or
I'm gonna go
rescheduled,
mad.
I don't know. I wouldn't mind it right now. As much as I love missing, I do miss Arsenal when they play. I think with the transfer window, being the Monday, well, not the Monday after, a week, a week on Monday, after the game. Yeah, I don't know. Just given the suspensions, the unavailability, the fitness of the squad, I wouldn't see a rescheduling of this game as the end of the world. Obviously, I'd miss Arsenal playing. I want us to kind of just get on with the games. At the same time, if it got rescheduled, which I don't think it will at this stage, I wouldn't lose any sleep over it, because I think in terms of resources and squad depth, we're at the max in terms of what we can do. Because if you looked at our bench against Liverpool, as Stephen said earlier, there was just nothing there. There was nothing there. So if the 11 players can't do it on the pitch against Burnley, then we're not going to do it at all, because there's nothing we can really go to. So yeah, it's. I think the lineup is going to be practically the same as Liverpool.
Yeah, I think the thing with Burnley is, we're 22 games into the season, and I think Burnley have like 21 games in hand. So if they postpone another game, like, when are they going to play? They haven't played football in like a year and a half.
The thing is, I can see us getting more fixtures in February for the Wolves at home. So I think we'll get another game
played somewhere, innit?
They've got to be played somewhere, and that's our quietest month at the moment. Looking at it,
we could end
Chelsea's
up playing.
Probably going to go ahead as well. Yeah, I know we play them away first. It's mad. It's mad.
Yeah, we could play them in the same week. I was looking at it earlier on. So are you confident we can get a win?
You want to go first, Lois?
I don't know. I just don't know. It depends if it goes ahead. I just simply don't know. I'm still going, but
even if the game doesn't go ahead, you're still going?
I'll go down the pub. Yeah, no, I'll be going down the pub. I don't care. I'll go for a walk around Highbury.
G, what's your thoughts? Feeling confident we can get a win?
Yeah, I think Burnley are terrible right now. And practically the whole season they've been. And I think despite us having, a depleted side and lack of kind of like availability of quite a few players, I think I'm pretty confident that over 90 minutes we can get a result against Burnley. I don't really care if it's pretty, ugly, own goal, 5-goal thriller. I don't care what it is. I just want 3 points. Because I think after the last 4 games, I think we're well overdue 3 points and a victory. I think it's going to be a tough game, because at the end of the day, Burnley can be a tough cookie to crack. They are fighting for their lives. They're in a relegation battle, and most people have got them as favourites to go down. So we should have enough. Like, let's be real, we should have enough to get a result against them at home, even despite all our, injuries and players that aren't available. So, I'm confident we'll get a result and we'll bounce back on Sunday.
Okay. What was the final score in the City game when we played them?
Oh, gosh, what was it?
2-0?
Was it 2-0? Yeah, that's what I've got in my head, but I'm not sure. I'm gonna look it up now.
I think it was 2. Yeah, it was 2.
Yeah.
It was 2-1 because Saka scored first. And then that thing.
Yeah, 2-1.
Done it in extra time.
Yeah, Lottie's right. It was 2-1.
I was there. That was one game Arsenal fans actually found their voices as well, come to think of it.
Yeah, it was 2-1.
So, I'll read these comments and then we'll do score predictions. Where have we got to? Tom had to wait till everyone else has theirs. Keith, 2-0 to the Arsenal. Tom, I'm in two minds whether to go to the pub after or rush back home for girls
Oh.
at 6.
Tom, I'll get the trolley to put the women's game on if we get a table by then.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, would the better option not be to go to the pub and watch the girls? And there may actually be actual girls as well at the pub, which makes it even better. They had 10 the other day, I think, obviously in terms of Burnley having fit players.
Yep.
Jimmy, G-Man, don't say that. The money spent, especially with the postponement to change the flights.
Apologies,
Man. Jimmy.
I forgot Jamie was coming over. He's told me so many times. Jamie, I'm sorry.
Yeah, apologies, man. I know it's going to be a massive inconvenience for people. So yeah, for that reason, I hope the game goes ahead. Sorry, guys.
Burnley had to apply today. It's too late. Tom, I bet there's a midweek game.
Sorry, Stephen. If you go back to one, they had to apply today. No, Burnley Watford, they cancelled for 45 minutes to half an hour before the game, so it still can happen.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So the application could have gone in and it might not even be reported yet.
Exactly.
Okay.
And all those Burnley fans have travelled down here for the game. I felt so sorry for them.
I bet there's a midweek game. They should put the Wolves match on the same weekend as the League Cup now. Yeah,
they play
Liverpool that weekend anyway. Which is why our game's been moved that weekend. I'll come to. I'm due a trip out. Scrap that. Wolves are playing West Ham that day.
Yep.
Matt's going for an Arsenal win. I'll be in Manchester for the game.
Oh, brilliant! Okay. Enjoy, man.
So, right, score predictions. Lottie, what are you going for?
Can you come back to me? Can you ask G first, please? I don't know. Come back to me in a couple minutes, please.
I'm going to go 2-0 Arsenal.
I was filling in the spreadsheet.
I didn't give you much time to think, did I, Lottie?
No, you didn't. Who's going to score?
You was banking on me talking for like 2 minutes, isn't it? Nah, 2-0 Arsenal. Go on, Lottie.
I hate you.
All right.
Any other time, you're happy to talk and talk and talk.
Lottie, I'll give you a wee bit more thinking time. I'm going 3-0 Arsenal.
Okay.
I'm done, Lottie. Jimmy has said my usual, and I'll put £2 on it since I'm going. Haha, excellent, Jimmy.
Nice.
Really, 3-1 the Arsenal. Okay, and do you know what? Really, we'll use yours as our charity bet.
Yeah, got in there quick, didn't he?
Yeah. So we're going with 3-1. So I'll put the pound on that in a wee sec. Right, Lottie. Mom.
I did actually say my score, but I was actually on mute. Yeah. I'm gonna go with 3-1 as well.
You're going 3-1 as well. Okay, well, just bear with me a wee sec. G, Phil, for a sec there. Talk about something for a wee second.
Oh, okay. What should we talk about? I don't even know. Now you put me on the spot. I've gone completely blank. Yeah, in terms of the loans. Oh no, actually, did you see that the news had broken that in terms of the FA's investigation with regards match fixing betting, they've actually found no suspicious activity supposedly, and everything's all in the clear. I don't know who tweeted it, but somebody definitely tweeted it out earlier.
If that was actually true, it would have been all over everything, including that.
No, but I don't know. Yeah, it says here actually it was Matt Lawton, from chief sports correspondent from the Times. It says the FA's investigation into Arsenal yellow card has not found evidence of any wrongdoing by the player booked or by any other Arsenal player, and that was this geezer here, Matt Lawton, who is chief sports correspondent from the Times, views mine. So I don't know how true that is, but that's what's been reported. But yeah, it's had absolutely no media coverage other than the one tweet that I've seen. which is a bit weird.
So, thanks for that, Jay. What did you say, Lottie? You'd gone 3-1 as well, didn't you?
Yep.
Yeah, 3-1.
So the 3-1 scoreline, just to let everybody know, and really, obviously, you've selected this on behalf of the guests / fans, is 10-1. So if it's 3-1, we will win £11 for our charity bet, which obviously goes towards Air Ambulance Northern Ireland for this season. And we will have to potentially have a wee look at doing some other fundraising ideas, because at the minute we're not going to be handling much because we've not done too well with our... What's wrong with your face, Lottie?
I've just seen a headline. Premier League footballer arrested on suspicion of child sex offences has bail extended until April 17th.
I think that's...
This player hasn't been named. Player hasn't been named.
Ain't that the Everton guy, though?
No, he's already out. It's
Okay.
public knowledge. He's got his court dates for July and August. Oh, no, June and August, sorry. That's Mendy, isn't it? You're talking about. This is someone else.
Yeah. But I don't even know what happened with that the Everton guy that had a similar situation. I don't even know what happened to him.
Oh no, he's come out on bail, attacked another woman, and they've still let him out on bail.
Oh,
He's
there's
got
the
court
judiciary
dates.
system for you, innit?
Mm.
Stephen's blowing his nose.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I tell everyone that.
Yeah. Sorry, I've just scrolled in through looking for the headlines on Sky, and there's absolutely nothing there. Oh, did you guys see the headline about the Chelsea women's team?
Yeah, I
And
did.
Yeah, the paper doesn't surprise me anymore.
Yeah,
it really doesn't.
Yeah.
I've seen Cuthbert's reaction as well, and she's not happy because
Yeah,
her picture's
great.
on it.
Yeah, it's not great, man. But it just shows that regardless of how much progress has been made, you know, there's still a lot of work to do in terms of, you know, all
definitely.
kind of discriminative behavior. You know what I mean? So
yeah,
there's just a lot more work to be done, man.
But the thing is, it's the whole as a sport is thriving at the moment, and it's just to come out with something like that is ridiculous.
Mm.
All right. So yeah, 10-1 returns £11. So Antonio 2-0 the Arsenal. Good to see you, Antonio. Really, cheers, folks. No problem. Tom, I'll say 2-0, a goal in each half. Benjamin might be sent off. Antonio, no red cards, please. Really, now we need AC 12 to investigate the refs. And 3-0 is 15-2 from Jamie, so that'd be a decent return.
Definitely.
Right, that kind of wraps things up. Anything else you just want to touch on, Lottie?
Nope.
No. G?
No, man. All good, you know. All good. I think we pretty much covered all of it, you know.
Okay. Before we run through the socials, I'm going to do something. I want to talk about something that we haven't talked about for a while, and that is our subscriber challenge, which obviously the time's passed for me to get my hair bleached, for G to get his hair bleached. But if you want to see Lottie
running out of time.
If you want to see Lottie get a tattoo that we come up with, please subscribe to the channel now. Even if you never watch a single episode of anything we do, just hit that subscribe button. If you want to see Lottie embarrassed and in pain, hit it now.
Do you know what? Can I let you voice into a secret? That pain is actually quite addictive, so I like it.
Okay, because you're really going to enjoy what we've got planned.
Even more reasons to subscribe, guys.
That's it. We need to hit 2,000 subscribers by the start of next season. So if you haven't done it, hit the subscribe button now. Tell everybody you know, hit the subscribe button now. Take their phones, hit the subscribe button now. Say, I don't care if you don't watch, just hit the subscribe button just because we want to see Lottie get a tattoo. Thank you. G, give us some socials.
No problem. So,
sorry, first before we do that.
Oh, there you go. I was about to read it. Imagine.
Yeah. Last orders. Get your final questions and comments in now before we close.
So yes, thank you for everybody for tuning into the stream. Massive thank you. We appreciate all your support. So yeah, big thank you to all of you. If you want to follow us on all our socials, we are on Facebook, which is at Cannon Chatter. We are indeed on Instagram, which is at Cannon_Chatter. And if you got TikTok, then it's at Cannon_Chatter also. Most of you will know us from Twitter. So if you want to follow, or for whatever reason you're not following the official Twitter account, please do follow it after the show. That's at Cannon Chatter. If you want to follow Stephen, who's hosted tonight's show, please do head over to SB Cannon Chatter. If you want to follow me, very simple, G Talks Arsenal. And if you want to follow the lovely Lottie, that's at Lottie_B with 2 T's and 2 I's because somebody beat her to it. Lottie does write a blog. I'll let you give us an update with regards the blog at the moment, Lottie.
There isn't one. I can't bring myself to write yesterday's one just yet. I'm not over it.
But everything else is up to date, though.
Yeah, more or less.
Yeah. Cool. So everything else is up to date. So if you want to head over to Lottie's blog to find out, all the stuff she does in terms of, writing and so forth with regards previous transfers, previous game analysis, etc., please head over to Lottie. Please head over to at lottieafc.blogspot.co.uk. And most importantly, make sure you subscribe, you turn on those notifications, and you hit that like button, people.
Okay. Thank you, G.
Excuse me.
Right. So last few comments then. Keith, great show, guys. Take care. Come on, you gooders. Jamie, remember, Lottie, it's your round.
I'll have a rosé, please.
All right, I'll buy it with shirt buttons. I keep telling you this. You don't listen. I'm going to say it on YouTube. I don't care.
All right.
I won't be out drinking.
Lottie, any final words?
No, just be kind and be careful what you tweet. After the afternoon I've had this afternoon, just be careful what you tweet and be nice to each other.
Okay. G?
You know what? Grab yourself another drink. Have another, enjoy your evening. Let's beat Burnley on Sunday. And let's hope by, the 31st of Jan, we've signed Vlahovic, Arthur, and this geezer called Matt Turner.
Cheers. From me, Lottie, for yourself, anybody else going to the game, Jamie, be safe, have a great game. Hopefully we'll get the 3 points. Sing your hearts out.
I'm sitting right next to the Burnley fans. I'm going to have some fun.
As G says, grab a drink, enjoy your weekend.
Yeah.
We will be back probably Monday or Tuesday night with a bit of a review of the Burnley game. We may have, as I say, a couple of things next week, potentially a wee quiz or something going on. Lottie may be back with some Arsenal ladies content, possibly.
Yep. There's a lot to catch up on. So, especially transfers wise, and it's exciting stuff.
Excellent. And as I say, we may hopefully, fingers crossed, be back on transfer deadline day. And if we are, we'll put out a shout. And if anybody wants to come on those shows and have a chat and talk transfers, talk Arsenal, if it's anything like the last one, I think Lottie did 12 hours, was it? Or 11 hours, 10 hours, something like that.
12 hours. I own the record. You guys have still got to beat that record.
Imagine, the last transfer show we had, obviously, Lottie, you did 12 hours. That is mad. I was moving house. That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I was actually moving house on that day.
Yeah, but you did jump on the evening.
I think, was it the evening one or was it the midday one?
No, it was the evening one because Stephen wasn't around.
Okay,
It was the mid-afternoon one you jumped on.
That's what I thought. I thought it was the one because I remember being at my sister-in-law's house and jumping in. I was in her bedroom and just jumped on a quick stream.
I thought there was an evening one where it was just me and you.
I can't remember.
No, there was 3. So it started off, it was you and me and Scott, for our good friend Scott Borg from out in Australia.
Yeah.
And then the afternoon, there was yourself, Keith was on with you, I think, at one point. G was on.
I remember.
And then the evening, you started off with Albert.
Okay,
Yeah.
And then I jumped on, and we had Antonio, the sensible gunner,
Yeah,
on with
yeah.
us.
Mm.
And then I'm trying to think, it was you and me. I'm trying to think who else. So somebody else
You
joined
lot
us that
went,
evening as well.
right through, like literally right through to the deadline. And like you
Yeah.
said, Stephen, Lottie, boy, 12 hours, boy, that's mad.
But we'll
I'm
probably
not doing it again. I can't do 12 hours again.
we'll hopefully do something similar.
Yeah,
we'll see what
something
happens.
we will definitely do something. It's just to what extent we'll do it, but we'll keep everyone posted. So
100% we will be on transfer deadline day. Even if it's just the sort of later evening, but we will be on. But hopefully we'll be able to do stuff sort of throughout the day as well.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens. But with that said, let's have a good game at the weekend. We will see you Monday or Tuesday. Other than that, I can't think of anything else. So I say enjoy yourselves, take care, and keep chatting.